Welcome to another episode of Experience Andy Wines Live. My 15 minutes, I get to experience the world through my voice and through the reality that social media has now created, where I get to share all the wonderful things that I have in my world with everybody else in the world. So we'll start off, as always, with a moment of gratitude. And I have a lot to be thankful for. I had a great week last week with my girlfriend down in Punta Cana on vacation. We had great service and great people that I got to meet along the way, and great drivers and vendors and tour guides, all the great people. And then I came home, and yesterday I had the opportunity to see Jordan Peterson, who's a mentor, a hero of mine. Absolutely. I got to see him live in Milwaukee, and yesterday was also my birthday, 40th birthday. And so I think what I'm most grateful for, the vacation, the Jordan Peterson, all the people, also all the people that reached out to me yesterday and wished me a happy birthday. It meant a lot to hear from people that I haven't spoken to since high school, or we only know each other passively through social media. So it reminded me on that day that I matter. And so that I'm very grateful for. So it's important for me and for you to practice gratitude so you can start seeing things from a more optimistic mindset, optimistic lens, which will ultimately aid you in living a more healthy, rounded life versus focusing on the negativity all the time. All right. Second order of business. Words fucking matter. I wrote a book, and now I'm like Dr. Jordan Peterson, going on a speaking tour. I'm going and speaking with different groups. There's a book club that's going to have me out. They're reading my book currently. They're going to have me out in April to do Q&A, and I'm excited about that. I'm doing workshops for businesses. So whoever can benefit from the lessons learned in the book and life lessons and limiting self-beliefs and the use of language in their daily lives and the language of leadership, all these things, I would love to hear from you as I continue to develop my thought leadership and continue to take the lessons learned within the book and apply it to real life. When there's something you hear I say here you want me to go deeper on, or when you hear people using limited self-language in the workplace or school or church or wherever you are, and when you see it's a good fit, I would love an introduction. You can find me at andywines.com, and all my contact information is there. All right. We had our gratitude. We had our 1 minute plug, got to get paid, express why we're doing these things. And now let's get into the meat. Today was one of the simplest days. Taylor, my producer, can tell you this. One of the simplest days for me to have a topic ready. I text him before he texted me this morning, asking what the topic was, because there were so many things last night I experienced while listening to Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. I keep saying Dr. Jordan B. Peterson because that's how he brands himself. And as I was listening to him, and even before he came on, there was a couple plugs for a couple products he has coming on. There were so many things that he talks about that are parallels in my life. And now he has 40 years of teaching and a psychology degree and teaching at Harvard and teaching at the University of Toronto and all these things, and hundreds of hours, thousands of hours lecturing, and a depth of knowledge that I would say very few people in this world could comprehend. And yet there was things that I took and I go, oh, I do that. I hear that. I know where he's coming from. I see how what he is saying relates to me in my everyday world and the way I do things. And so those are the few things I want to share today because it was inspiring. While he was talking, I found myself daydreaming of the day that I stand on a stage in front of 1,300, 1,500 people, where he had an opener, which I thought was interesting. He had a gentleman come out and play about 15 minutes of acoustic and electric guitar, setting the tone. And like this show, I set the tone by having a song that my brother wrote play. I could see myself, right, in the future being at a theater and sharing my ideals with the world and having a musician open for me to set the tone and set the music. And that was a beautiful visualization. And that's where I'm going. And I say I'm going to go there. And the more I say it to the world, the more it becomes a reality. And the more I see others do it, I say, yeah, that's what I want. I want that someday. I remember when I was in high school, I was inspired. We had an assembly in the gym, and the guy got up there and talked about bullying in high school and why it's important to become friends with people, whatever. He probably did 45 minutes maybe. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, that guy's got the greatest job in the world. I want that job. I want to go places and share my story with the world. And I was 16, 17, and I got into radio, and I've done videos, and now I do this. Like, that to me is what I love. And so I was so inspired by Jordan Peterson, and I thought, how did he get there on that stage? He went to school, he learned psychology, he did lectures, and he did something way before anybody else. He started putting his content, his lectures that were recorded at the university, he started putting them on YouTube for free, right? Here's all the information, have it. Right? Here are people that are paying tens of thousands of dollars a year to go to school. I'm going to record it. I'm going to give it to everybody else for free. And because of that, he put himself out there. He took the ideals of Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud and all these other people's ideas. In the Bible, he talked about last night was We Who Wrestle with God, which is his new book. I guess I'll plug Jordan Peterson. Hey, go buy the book. And he tests those things against his ideals. And he's no more special than me or you or anybody else. He took the time to think to himself, what matters to me and how does it work against these other of the other intellectuals, right? And that's what I'm doing. And I'm throwing my content out for free. So I am, in a way, following in that path. Because, again, scope and scale, it's not there yet. When Jordan Peterson first started lecturing, he wasn't where he is at today. He had long hair and he was throwing ideas out there, and yet he still put himself out there. And that's what probably is the most inspiring thing I have out there. And so the first lesson I take away from Dr. Jordan Peterson is step 3 of my 3 steps to successful life, which is show the fuck up. He did the fucking thing. He told the fucking world by putting his content out there, and then he showed up day in and day out. And when they canceled him, he came up with his own shit. So that's the number 2 thing I took away from last night. When he got canceled in Canada, right, they revoked his teaching, or his ability to teach, his ability to do what he was put on this earth to do. He said, fuck you then. And he said it like that. And no, like that. And now he's created his own school, his own university where people can attend and get all the information from the best lecturers for a reduced cost. Because he said, we don't need the universities, Canada, United States. We don't need all this overhead. I'm going to bring people in. I'm going to put a camera in front of them, and we're going to shoot content, and we're going to sell it at a reduced rate that most people can consume. And so that was takeaway number 2, right? That is all about telling the fucking world and showing the fuck up. So every day in life, there's going to be shit that goes against you. And what are you going to do about it? And you have choices, and you have options. Versus saying, oh, I'm going to let the situation control me. No, he is going to go out there and adapt to the ever-changing environment. Oh, you're going to cancel me? Sounds good. I'm going to create my own fucking platform. One of the reasons I love Joe Rogan, right? Joe Rogan is probably one of the most uncorruptible people in the world because he has the largest voice when it comes to social media, when it comes to podcasting, because he takes not a dollar from sponsorships. He has no agenda. He brings people on that he doesn't necessarily agree with because he wants to hear their perspective. And he lets everybody on and lets them have a voice. Unless he has a clear objection against them ahead of time, he brings them on and lets them speak and gives them the platform to speak. And the Fox Newses and the CNNs, the MSNBCs, the pundits that think they run the intelligence of this world have no fucking clue why he's so successful. Because he goes out and he strives anyways. And that's what Jordan Peterson does. That's what Elon Musk does. That's what Joe Rogan does. The guys that I look up to, the men, and there's women too. These 3 men are the ones I look up to because in the face of adversity, they continue pushing the path forward. Elon Musk bought Twitter. The next day, it was halved the value and 80% of the employees are gone. And he changed the name of it to X and it's functioning better than ever. And his advertisers went away and he goes, fuck them. Again, in no short terms. Watch the video. Fuck them. He looks right at the camera and says, fuck them. They can take their money and go. Because his goal is to create a platform where everybody has the equal opportunity to speak. Do the fucking thing. Tell the fucking world. Show the fuck up. That is what he is doing. That's what Dr. Jordan Peterson did last night. Third thing he talked about last night is it was the first thing. It was actually the first thing on my list, and I got carried away because that's life, and I'm so excited to share this information with you. First thing he talked about last night, before he even got on stage, all of a sudden there was an advertisement, a really well done video about his new product, which is called Essay.app. So you can get an Essay.app, which allows individuals to better write essays. Because what he found in his practice was he had students write 3 essays throughout the semester, and their first essay was crap. And he said it was just crap, terrible shit. And so instead of teaching them how to research better, he taught them how to make a better written argument and a better, well thought. Okay, this is an idea, and this is a sentence, and this sentence should go in this paragraph, and this paragraph should come after this paragraph because this sets it up and this closes it. And oh, how does this relate back to the thesis? And oh, hey, we have to have a conclusion at some point. And so they created a new product because his argument was simple. Word processing really hasn't changed since 1985. And so he created a new app. And throughout it, he kept saying, words matter. And well, as we know, words do fucking matter, right? So he kept saying the same thing as me. And it was very interesting because before the show, we sat next to a couple. I went with my father. His birthday is March 5th. Mine's March 10th. We always generally do something around our birthdays together. So we enjoyed Dr. Peterson last night together. And we're sitting next to this couple. Hey, what brought you here? How'd you get here? Why'd you come to the show? And then I saw someone I knew, so I jumped over and got talking to a good buddy of mine, Van Clarkson, and his wife, Danny. He's the president of Fairchild Equipment. They do our forklifts. Great guy. Plug Fairchild Equipment if you're looking for forklifts and all that shit. We're plugging everybody today. We're gratitude, giving, right? Anyways, I come back to where my father was talking to this gentleman, and the guy looked at me and goes, oh, so you wrote a book? I go, yeah, I wrote a book. And he goes, yeah, your dad was bragging about you. And I go, yeah, words. I said, yeah, I wrote a book. And he goes, what's it called? I go, Words Fucking Matter. And his wife was not impressed with that title. She's, oh. And I go, yeah, you can find it on Amazon. She goes, oh, okay. I go, well, it was a bestseller. Hey, I'll tell you the facts. If you still think my book is shit, still think my book is shit. Anyway, so as this advertisement is going on about Jordan Peterson's new product, SA.app, he kept saying words matter 6 or 7 times. And finally, the guy next to me taps me and goes, words matter. I go, yeah, they fucking matter. So that was vindication. When I sat out 2 years ago to write a book, I was writing a book called Hustle, Struggle, Grind, The 13 Lessons of Life. And Amanda Forsnick, pithy wordsmithy, my ghostwriter, was very emphatic when she's, okay, we have all these ideas. They don't really go together. But the one thing I notice about you is that you really are particular about your words. And I go, yeah, because words fucking matter. She goes, there you go. There's your thought leadership. So Jordan Peterson and I arrived at the same conclusion. He went to university and became a professor and read essays to come to the conclusion that, well, words matter, right? And lesson 10 of 12 rules for life is be precise in your speech, right? So he's consistent. And my thing is that word limits my ability to see the future. That word gives me fucking excuse. That word blames other people. That word does not serve me. And so I came to the same conclusion he did in a much different way. And yet we came to the same conclusion. So that to me was vindication that what I'm doing, that I'm on this righteous path, that I will be on that stage or something similar to it in my future, that what I'm doing matters. It matters to me and it matters to the audience, and eventually the audience will matter to their audience. And then we will grow this idea that words truly do matter, that when you tweak one word in a paragraph, it changes the paragraph, and that paragraph can change the world. And I truly, absolutely believe that. I live by that, right? The power of words, the power of language will change your life, and when done right, changes the lives of others, which ultimately will change and impact the world. So words matter. The third thing, first point there, and yet third thing. I always look over here, so I have my whiteboard. That's where I transfer all my knowledge. Fourth point that he talked about was the word sacrifice. So last night it was about we who wrestle with God, and he told the story from Genesis chapter 22, when it's the story of Abraham and Isaac, when Abraham climbs a mountain and he's about to sacrifice his only son, Isaac, right? Him and his wife had the baby when they were 75. Now they're in their 80s, and he's about to sacrifice his child because God told him to, and he was about to do it. And then the angel comes down and stops him and says, okay, you were willing to sacrifice your child. And what Jordan Peterson kept talking about is sacrifice is about sacrificing long or short-term pleasure for long-term. And he used the word like hookers and cocaine. Like he used it. And of course, he got a big uproar, right? Here's a doctor spoken who's dropping F-bombs and talk about hookers and cocaine because he's still relatable to the average person. And I always think about what P.T. Barnum said, right? Comfort is the enemy of progress. And discomfort is sacrifice, right? What are you willing to sacrifice? I'm willing to sacrifice my comfort now, right? I'm willing to put the work in now, sacrifice my time, sacrifice my money, sacrifice my energy so that I'm better later. So tonight at 7 p.m., like I do every Monday, or 7:30, I think tonight, I'm going to the gym. So I'm sacrificing my time. It takes about an hour round trip. I'm sacrificing my money. It costs me money to have gym membership. I'm sacrificing my comfort, putting on my comfies and sit in front of Netflix or my laptop or something that's more comfortable. And I'm choosing to sacrifice all those things so that I can show up and be happy and healthy for my daughter and other people in my life in the future. And so sacrifice is paramount, right? Sacrifice has a direct correlation with discipline. And what are you willing to sacrifice today so that you have what you want tomorrow? Another thing to think about as you go through your week. What are you willing to sacrifice this week so that you're better off tomorrow? Are you willing to sacrifice the fast food to be mindful of your waistline? Willing to sacrifice maybe going to the movies or going to a show this weekend and put that money into savings so you have more in the future? What are you willing to sacrifice so that you get what you want? And what I'll challenge you is go back to your why, go back to your goals, go back to all the work we've done together. for these last 25 sessions, right? Go back to your goals and what sacrifices are you willing to make this week so that you're closer to that goal. Fifth point, he talked about the word sin. And sin, several languages, is derived from archery terms made to misaim or mistake, right? Or misstep. And that's what he equated it to. And I thought, oh, that's fucking interesting. The 3 steps to decision making I talked about last week is redneck logic. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Old Henry Ford, the old adage where a professional person will find a problem for every solution while a redneck will find a solution for every problem, right? Second step is hillbilly math, right? What's the data that supports or defends, right? What data do you need, I should say? What data do you need in order to make the decision? And then finally, Kentucky windage, which is a shooting term, no different than sin. What adjustment Kentucky windage is if I'm shooting straight. I've already got my weapon system. I already sighted it in. I already know the bullets run straight. And if I miss my target 2 inches to the left, I don't go back and get a new weapon. I don't go and recalibrate. I don't go buy new bullets. I aim 2 inches to the right. And so that was really interesting. And he talked about sin is the minor adjustments that you need to make so that you live a righteous life. And so I take all these things that someone is astute, someone is well-spoken, someone that is articulate, like Jordan Peterson says, and said, okay, how do I take what he said? 90-minute lecture, right? I got 5 takeaways ripped down. And how do I equate that to my life? And am I on the right path? These are questions. And last night proved me that I am on this right path. And my idea of taking really deep ideas and breaking them down, right, into simpler concepts. So most people can understand them and most people can accomplish their goals by using these simple concepts. That is my overall thing I took away from it. Jordan Peterson he took one chapter of the Bible, Genesis chapter 22, verses 1 through 17, and he did 60-minute lecture on it, one chapter, because he was willing to go to the depths of this idea of sacrifice, this idea of living the adventure that is your life. And he was doing it in a way that 1,500 people with diverse backgrounds, with diverse ideals, could take in the information and live a better life because of it. I'm beyond excited to share all these things with you. And my challenge to you is very simple. Put down your values, put down your ideals, put down what you believe in, and go find it in nature. And when you do find it in nature, spend more time with that, in those people, in those ideals. When I was walking back last night with my father and him and I were discussing it, I thought, here's my dad. He's 68 years old as of like 10 minutes ago, right? He just turned 68 and I turned 40. And here we are sharing a moment, walking back to the car, sharing what did you get out of it and what did I get out of it? And we got very different things out of it. And yet we both enjoyed it. He loves watching short videos on YouTube as I do. And he loves things that inspires him and teaches him because at 68, he knows there's still more to learn. I talked about Van. I talked about Van earlier. I talked to my dad about Van Clarkson and my Vistage Roundtable. I sit with 15 other CEOs and business leaders to better understand business and life and relationship and health and fitness and being a good person. Why? Because I choose to surround myself with those people. This whole idea that you are a culmination of the 5 people you spend your most time with. Who are those 5 people? What activities are you doing? How are you growing together? And when you figure that out, when you find those 5 people that get you closer to your goals, you start living that righteous life you've always wanted to live. And so that's my challenge for you this week. Start, stop, continue. Stop. Stop doing the things that do not get you close to your goals. What are you willing to sacrifice? Stop doing those things that do not get you where you want to go. Continue. Surround yourself with people and ideas that will challenge you to become that person. And start filling in the time with all that shit you stopped, all those sacrifices. Start implementing activities, procedures, whatever it is in your life that you need to do different. Start doing that instead of the sacrificing. Stop going to McDonald's and start going to the grocery store. Stop driving by the gym and saying maybe someday and start driving your ass into the gym and going to it. Stop spending money at the mall and start saving for your future, whatever it is. That's my challenge to you today. And finally, surround yourself with the people that are going to get you there. Because at the end of the day, you are responsible to do the 3 things that are going to make you amazing every day. And those 3 things every week are the same. Do the fucking thing, tell the fucking world, and show the fuck up. We'll see you next week.